18 years into our child-free marriage, I discovered my husband wasn't child-free at all. He had more than one illegitimate son. The woman was patient. She knew that while I had no children, his bastards still had a claim to his inheritance. Even as a mistress, her sons could one day carve up the empire we had spent half our lives building. I thought about it, over and over. A divorce would grant me the majority of our assets, but what was left would still be enough for them to live in luxury for the rest of their lives. It was far too generous. If that was the case, then we might as well lose it all together. I started with nothing. I could survive with nothing again. But them? After they've lost everything, could they still afford to raise those precious golden sons of theirs? By the time I discovered Ron's affair, his eldest son was already running and jumping, and his youngest had just passed his 3-month milestone. The only reason I'd been kept in the dark for so long was because Ron's entire family had conspired to help him cover it up, creating a seamless web of lies. The truth finally slipped out because Ron attended the party for his youngest son's celebration. Someone anonymously sent me a photo from the event, a picture of their happy little family. I stared at my phone, my mind a complete blank for a few seconds. A surge of fury rose in my chest, but it was quickly suppressed by cold, hard logic. After years in the business world, I had unlearned the habit of acting on impulse. I wouldn't confront Ron until I had the full story. I hired someone to do some digging. It took only 3 days for every secret Ron had buried to be laid bare before me. 5 years ago, he had started keeping a recent college graduate. 4 years ago, she gave birth to their first son. Now, their second child was 3 months old. No wonder his mother had stopped nagging me about children years ago. I'd naively thought she had finally accepted our choice to be child-free. Turns out, she was already a grandmother. Even with the undeniable proof of his betrayal, I forced myself to remain calm. His infidelity was a fact, and arguing wouldn't change a thing. The only thing to consider now was how to walk away from this without being the one who lost everything. In the world of adults, self-interest must always come first. I spent the entire afternoon sitting alone in a tea house, replaying our 18 years together. It was Ron who had first proposed being child-free. I never imagined he would be the one to go back on his word. In the early days, we started our architectural firm from nothing. We had no connections, no support. Every step was a struggle. Now that we were finally on solid ground, the first thing he does is have children with someone else. The irony was staggering. That afternoon, I consulted with several lawyers specializing in divorce. The consensus was grim. We had no prenuptial agreement. Even though he was the at-fault party, forcing him to walk away with nothing was nearly impossible. That path was a dead end. I needed another plan. As I was thinking, Ron called. He asked why I wasn't home yet. I glanced at my watch. It was past 9. For all these years, despite having another family, he had maintained a perfect facade. Barring the occasional business dinner, he was almost always home before 9:30 p.m. That consistency was a key reason I had never suspected a thing. I'd forgotten that a man who truly wants to cheat doesn't need large blocks of unaccounted-for time. It was 10 by the time I got home. Ron was on the living room sofa, flipping through an art book. He looked up at the sound of the door. Even in his 40s, he was still in impeccable shape, not with the softness of middle age, but with a quiet, refined presence forged by time. But I saw it clearly, an almost unconscious movement as he closed the book and tucked it into the crevice of the sofa cushions. It was a detail I would have missed before. Now, it was glaring. Suspicion, once planted, finds evidence everywhere. He walked over, his expression normal, and took my coat. His voice was gentle. Working late? Trouble with a project? For a moment, I was lost. How could a person betray a marriage so profoundly and show not a single trace of guilt on his face?